We are now going to be following up with another Drew Barrymore story. We all know about the ongoing WGA and SAG after strikes and all the backlash Drew Barrymore was facing due to her continuing her talk show amid the strikes. Well, the show has officially been paused due to the backlash from not only the industry itself, but also many fans were disappointed in her decision. She took to Instagram to release a statement that stated, "I have listened to everyone, and I am making the decision to pause the show's premiere until the strike is over. I have no words to express my deepest apologies to anyone I have hurt, and of course to our incredible team who works on the show and has made it what it is today. We really tried to find our way forward, and I truly hope for a resolution for the entire industry very soon." Although she puts a pause on the release of her 4th season of her talk show, she has in the past defended her decision to continue her talk show. In a now deleted video that was uploaded on Drew's Instagram, she states, "We aren't gonna break rules, and we will be in compliance. I wanted to do this because, as I said, this is bigger than me, and there are other people's jobs on the line." She also has addressed how her talk show started during the pandemic and wanted it to continue in real time throughout the ups and downs the world is going through. I think it's telling that the controversy and backlash she received from her original plan of bringing her show has been blown way bigger than she probably imagined, especially because writers themselves seem to be in complete disagreement with Barrymore's original decision, especially because of actress and writer Felicia Day, known for her role in Supernatural, making public statements on how she felt disappointed Barrymore was going to continue her talk show. This decision also follows the National Book Awards decision to drop Drew as their host due to all the press surrounding the controversy of her talk show, as they wanted to focus their gala on the authors and writers themselves. As much as Drew wanted her show to go on for whatever reason, this decision to pause her show seems to be the right one for many people, as she is able to take accountability and acknowledge why many people were disagreeing with her in the first place. This all happened after 2 alleged audience members, Dominic Turzik and Cassidy Carter, attended a taping of the talk show in New York and were asked to leave because they were wearing pins that read "Writers Guild on Strike." Carter actually commented about this incident and said, "It really has changed my perspective on her and the show in general. I've been completely alarmed and disheartened by this whole process." The original launch date of the new season was supposed to be scheduled for September 18th. However, CBS released a statement stating, "We support Drew's decision to pause the show's return and understand how complex and difficult this process has been for her," as well as discussed future plans surrounding the release date by saying, "We will continue to evaluate plans for a new launch date." Ever since this whole situation occurred, it seems fans were split between supporting Drew in her decision as well as those who believed she made the wrong decision due to all the strikes going on. A lot of fans seemed disappointed with Drew's original plan because many looked up to her as someone who has been humble no matter her status as a celebrity, and it made them look at her differently due to her choice. What are your thoughts on Drew Barrymore pushing back the release date of her 4th season of her talk show? Will you be tuning in when it's released?
Coming in at number 10, turning against writers. Drew Barrymore faced intense blowback for her decision to resume taping her talk show despite Hollywood's ongoing labor strikes. As long as hosts or guests don't discuss or promote work, she wouldn't have been violating SAG-AFTRA rules, since the network code agreement does allow daytime hosts to perform hosting duties. But the thing is that her show operates with union writers, so new episodes would have required moving forward without their writers on staff. At the time, the WAG condemned her decision. They said Drew Barrymore should not be on air while her writers are on strike fighting for a fair deal. In reality, shows like this cannot operate without writing, and that is struck work. What really got people angry about this whole situation was the hypocrisy, since back in May, Drew stepped down as a host of the MTV Movie and TV Awards in a show of support and solidarity to the striking writers. At the time, she said, "I have listened to the writers, and in order to truly respect them, I will pivot from hosting the MTV Movie and TV Awards live in solidarity with the strike." But only a few months later, it seemed as though she had gone back on her stance, which is why she was immediately labeled a scab. Number 9, the apology video. Drew posted a tearful apology after coming under fire for bringing her talk show back during the writers' strike. In a video posted to Instagram, she said, "I believe there is nothing I can say or do in this moment to make it okay. I wanted to own a decision so it wasn't a PR protected situation, and I would just take full responsibility for my actions. There are so many reasons why this is so complex, and I just want everyone to know my intentions have never been in a place to upset or hurt anyone. That's just not who I am. I've been through so many ups and downs in my life, and this is one of them." Drew went on to explain that there is no PR machine behind this video or the decision to restart production. She insisted that she wanted to do this because, as she said, this is bigger than her and there are other people's people's jobs on the line. She said, "Since launching live in a pandemic, I just wanted to make a show that was there for people in sensitive times." She thought if she could go on during a global pandemic and everything that the world has experienced in 2020, why would this sideline us? But of course, her words fell on deaf ears because by that point, her decision had already been made. Number 8, fired from hosting. As we know, Drew got a ton of backlash for her decision to bring back the show. And then in what must have felt like the final crushing blow, the night before the long list for this year's National Book Awards started coming out, Drew was fired by the National Book Foundation. They announced that Drew, who had been set to host the gala, had been dropped. Quote, "The National Book Awards is an evening dedicated to celebrating the power of literature and the incomparable contributions of writers to our culture. In light of the announcement that the Drew Barrymore show will resume production, the National Book Foundation has rescinded Mrs. Barrymore's invitation to host the 74th National Book Awards ceremony. Our commitment is to ensure that the focus of the awards remains on celebrating writers and books, and we are grateful to Miss Barrymore and her team for understanding the situation." So obviously the foundation chose to stand with the writers in this particular instance, and for that reason they got a lot of praise. Unfortunately, many people felt that this was karma for Drew, and they celebrated the decision to fire her. What's more likely is that the foundation simply didn't want to have to deal with the picketers who would be lining up outside their event. So they did the easier thing and chose to let her go. Number 7, fans kicked out of the show. Drew's talk show went on with taping throughout last week, and it got some seriously bad press in the process because 2 audience members were booted from taping due to wearing a strike pin that had been handed to them by picketers outside of the show's set. So the fact that they got kicked out of the show just because they wore those pins was insane. Drew and her team insisted that she had no idea what had happened, but of course by this point, very few people actually believed her. So she got even more hate when that story came out. Originally, Drew had promised that the show would be fully ad-libbed and not written at all, due to 3 of the usual writers on the series currently striking as a part of the WGA. Despite this, the guild stated that even this version of the show was not within the strike's rules. In her original announcement, Drew said, "I own this choice. We are in compliance with not discussing or promoting film and television that is struck of any kind. Our show was built for sensitive times and has only functioned through what the real world is going through in real time." But clearly, all of that was not enough to stop the growing outrage. Number 6, caving to pressure. Following a flood of criticism from fans and peers for her decision to return her talk show to air, Drew has now decided to press pause on her show's new season, which has led at least 2 other shows in the genre to do the same. She announced a reversal on Instagram, and her statement read, "I have listened to everyone and I'm making the decision to pause the show's premiere until the strike is over. I have no words to express my deepest apologies to anyone I have hurt, and of course to our incredible team who works on the show and has made it what it is today. We have really tried to find our way forward, and I truly hope for a resolution for the entire industry very soon." After Drew's announcement, the Jennifer Hudson Show and The Talk also paused their season premieres, which were set for Monday, with a spokesperson saying that it would evaluate plans for a new launch date. A spokesperson for CBS Media Ventures then told the media that "we support Drew's decision to pause the show's return and understand how complex and difficult this process must have been for her." Coming in at number 5, no concept of personal space. Drew got some major side-eye from fans over her behavior on her own talk show. As a host, she's often very comfortable with her guests, but apparently sometimes a little too comfortable. In a clip taken from the show, she can be seen interviewing Kathryn Hahn before sliding to the floor on her knees and jokingly touching her legs. The 2 of them were discussing the topic of shaving, and Drew was obviously feeling Kathryn's legs for stubble, but a lot of viewers didn't take too kindly to this action, calling her out for the strange and cringy behavior. Under the video, people wrote things like, "The show should be named Drew getting on the floor every episode," and "Why does she keep doing this on the floor thing? I find it strange." The general consensus was that she gets way too close to her guests and is often all up in their personal space, which is why some people get very uncomfortable when watching her show. One person wrote, "Remember when Drew Barrymore's show started and the chairs on the stage were so far apart because of the pandemic, and Drew wasn't constantly on her knees at her guests' feet. So that's something that fans have noticed, and they really don't like it. Number 4, rude comments. Last year, Drew Barrymore came under fire for her remarks that she made about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. She then apologized on social media for making light of a very serious case after she described the trial as a 7-layer dip of insanity on her show. She said, "It's like one layer of crazy, it's a 7-layer dip of insanity. I know that these are two people's real lives, and I know what it's like to have your life put out in public." She went on to say, "I understand all the feelings, but they are actually offering up all this information that no one had to know. This is crazy." Drew then took to Instagram to apologize for these comments, saying that she was sorry for offending people by making light of the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. She said, "This can be a teachable moment for me and how I move forward and how I conduct myself." While this was one of her better apologies, it's no wonder fans felt a little off about her original comments, because by this point in time, many people were making fun of the trial, which was about a very serious issue. So it didn't help that major celebrities like Drew Barrymore were also doing the same. Number 3, dissing Bill Murray. The actress recently talked about witnessing Bill Murray's demeaning behavior, and she said she was present when he hurled insults at Lucy Liu on the set of Charlie's Angels. Drew said, "What really happened was Bill just came in a bad mood. You know, comedians can be a little dark sometimes, and what you have to know is how much Lucy stood up for herself, and that was a great thing that came out of an unfortunate circumstance. She literally said, 'I do not accept that kind of behavior from you,' and we all supported her and backed her up, and we moved forward." Drew said that there were some general comments made towards the group, but then Murray zeroed in on Lucy. Drew also sent her a video that she had of the incident to back up her allegations, which showed the moment that Bill Murray started lashing into her. It was apparently all caught on camera. In response, Lucy told her that she didn't even need the video for confirmation, and just having her friend's support was enough. Obviously, these comments didn't sit too well with Bill Murray fans, but it just goes to show you that the Angels still have each other's backs. Number 2, accusations of nepotism. Drew Barrymore is a staple of Hollywood at this point, but she did get her start because she was a daughter of Jade Barrymore and John Drew Barrymore. The crazy thing is that her family's fame goes back even further. The Barrymore legacy dates back to the 19th century to Maurice Barrymore and Georgina Emma Drew, who were stage actors. The first Barrymore to be featured on TV was Lionel Barrymore, who won an Oscar for a 1931 film called A Free Soul. Barrymore getting into Steven Spielberg's E.T., the extraterrestrial was a given. Drew still had a rough childhood, sadly, and it was all thanks to her connections with Spielberg that she didn't spiral into a bad lifestyle like Lindsay Lohan. And coming in at number 1, The Hollywood Life. Drew became a star at the ripe old age of 7 when she played Gertie in 1982's E.T. And of course, she was born into that famous family of actors, so she was truly meant for show business. But behind the curtain of her star-studded life, there was also a lot of darkness. According to The Guardian, Drew Barrymore's father John was a raging alcoholic, and her mother Jade lacked parental responsibility, and she also acted as Drew's manager and put her to work in show business at only 11 months old. But when her parents divorced, the young actress was left with her mother, who frequently took her out to party at Studio 54, where she was unfortunately exposed to illicit substances and a lifestyle that was meant for adults. By the age of 13, Drew had already been in rehab and she had been institutionalized. In fact, it was a psychiatric hospital that suggested that she should emancipate herself from her parents, as they believed she would be better off on her own. Drew agreed and cut contact with Jade, and at 14, she was already living by herself. She would be estranged from her mother for decades, and she recently revealed on Oprah that she was not present at her wedding because they both discussed it and thought that it would be best.
Moving forward, we are going to be discussing Drew Barrymore being fired. Drew is once again in the media, but this time regarding her being removed as a host for the National Book Award. Just for some quick background on this ongoing situation, we are going to be covering everything that has conspired into this. While Barrymore has been all over the media recently due to her decision to continue her talk show, even though there has been an ongoing WGA and SAG-AFTRA strike. Although she doesn't directly break any violations since her show is a talk show, they will have to go on without any writers. Drew has remained standing her ground as she states, "We are in compliance with not discussing or promoting film and television that is struck of any kind." She even further continued addressing this on Instagram and said, "We launched live in a global pandemic. Our show was built for sensitive times and has only functioned through what the real world is going through in real time. I want to be there to provide what writers do so well, which is a way to bring us together or help us make sense of the human experience. I hope for a resolve for everyone as soon as possible." The public seems to be split on the situation, as some writers have disagreed with Drew's decision. One TV personality star, Felicia Day, best known for her role in Supernatural, publicly spoke up against Drew's decision. Others have been understanding and are supporting Drew's continuation of her talk show amid the ongoing strikes. Well, fast forward to this week, specifically the night right before the annual list of National Book Awards began to come out, the National Book Foundation actually announced their decision to drop Barrymore as she was set to be the host for the gala. The foundation released a statement that read, "The National Book Awards is an evening dedicated to celebrating the power of literature and the incomparable contributions of writers to our culture." In light of the announcement that Drew Barrymore's show will resume production, the National Book Foundation has rescinded Mrs. Barrymore's invitation to host the 74th National Book Awards ceremony. "Our commitment is to ensure that the focus on the awards remain on celebrating writers and books, and we are grateful to Miss Barrymore and her team for understanding in this situation." This decision seemed to be made to further draw attention away from Barrymore and her talk show while focusing the main purpose of the book award ceremony, and that is to celebrate the authors. Barrymore has always stood with her decision to continue her talk show even though she has faced a ton of backlash. So yes, this means Drew will no longer be the host for this year's National Book Foundation, but the third season of her talk show is set to premiere on September 18th, which is right around the corner, so it will be interesting to see the public's opinion once her show is back on air. There has also been a ton of mixed reactions when it comes to the decision, with the obvious endless numbers of memes made dedicated to all of this. In all seriousness, some are still upset and disappointed in Drew and are siding with the foundation for dropping her, as it allows the focus to be on the writers instead. One story making waves in the entertainment industry is the controversy surrounding Drew Barrymore's talk show amidst an ongoing writer's strike. Fans and fellow celebrities alike are expressing disappointment over her decision to continue her show without writers. The strike, initiated by SAG-AFTRA and WGA back in July, serves as a protest against several issues plaguing the entertainment world. One of the key concerns shared by both parties is the rise of AI technology, which poses a threat to writers and actors alike. The fear is that companies might replace human jobs with artificial intelligence, potentially leading to a loss of employment opportunities. Writers are advocating for minimum staffing requirements in series, while actors are seeking changes to self-taped auditions rules. Streaming services, a dominant force in the industry, have played a significant role in these issues. Shorter seasons, reduced residual pay, and other challenges associated with the expansion of streaming platforms have made it increasingly difficult for actors and writers to sustain their livelihoods. The pervasive fear of AI in the entertainment industry is a valid concern. AI has advanced to a point where it can generate content, including scripts that closely mimic human creativity. This raises questions about the future of writers and actors that's increasingly reliant on technology. I mean, there is not a single industry that I don't think fears AI taking over their job just a bit. For actors, there's the added concern that AI could replicate their likeness, potentially dismissing the need for real-life performers, especially for groups such as background actors. While AI can be cost-effective for production companies, it has the potential to drastically reduce job opportunities in already competitive fields. Big companies would no longer have to hire writers or actors if they replace with AI. And many supporting the strike wants to feel secure with the position and not having to worry about a robot taking it one day. Some prominent celebrities such as Seth MacFarlane and Pete Davidson have thrown their support behind those participating in the strike. Pete Davidson, known for his comedic talents and generosity, was spotted handing out pizza to protesters. Meanwhile, Seth MacFarlane, with his massive $200 million deal with NBC Universal, has taken a stand by quote-unquote quitting Family Guy and American Dad while the WGA reaches a satisfactory agreement. It's heartening to see influential figures in the industry use their platforms to support those who might not have the same resources or voice. Especially with these two major celebrities, their support just further proves how many people have the backs of those striking. However, this support from other celebrities highlights the confusion surrounding Drew Barrymore's decision to continue her show amidst the strike. While her show may not directly violate any SAG-AFTRA rules, it does employ WGA writers. This means that her show will either involve non-WGA members violating members of the WGA or potentially no writers at all. It is important to acknowledge the diverse opinions surrounding Drew Barrymore's show continuation, and some fans and industry insiders have expressed their disappointment, much like Felicia Day, known for her role in Supernatural. There were even reports of audience members being removed from the show's live tapings for showing support towards the strike. Critics argue that if we are going to scrutinize Drew Barrymore, we should do the same for all the shows continuing during the strike and not just hers. This situation raises questions about the industry's dynamic, ethics, and the role of celebrities in advocating for change. What are your thoughts on this complex issue? We would love to hear from you.
Drew Barrymore had a bit of a scare on Monday night after a creepy encounter with a fan. The actress was in the middle of interviewing singer Renee Rapp at the 92nd Street Y in New York City, when the pair were forced to promptly exit the stage after an audience member rushed the stage and began speaking to her. While the women were speaking, a man interrupted and yelled, "Drew Barrymore." The actress, who was clearly frazzled as the audience member approached her, said, "Oh my god, yes, hi." The mystery man then identified himself, saying, "I'm Chad Michael Busteau. You know who I am. I need to see you at some point while I'm here in New York." That's when security intervened, surrounding Busteau on all sides, telling him to back up, and Rapp swiftly escorted Barrymore off stage. Luckily, the situation never got out of hand, but it was still a scare, I'm sure. The confused audience sat in silence for a few moments after the interruption before a staff member took to the stage to apologize, saying, "Hi everyone, sorry about that, just give us 1 minute." Thankfully, Barrymore and Rapp returned to continue their conversation about the singer's recently released album Snow Angel. Once back on stage, Barrymore told Renee, "Well, I have a new definition of your sexiness. It's that level of protectiveness. You went full bodyguard. You are my Kevin Costner." The actress was clearly impressed by Rapp's quick thinking, and she returned the compliment, praising Drew's professionalism as she returned to the stage so quickly. She shared, "They were like, 'Hey, do you need anything? Just a second?' She was like, 'Oh no, I've got it, I'm good.'" Entertainment journalist Mackenzie Morrell wrote on Twitter, "It was such an amazing time despite the alarming hiccup in the beginning with Drew's Stalker. Both handled it like bosses and recovered quickly to continue an awesome conversation. There are a lot of people online referring to this man as Barrymore's stalker, but I'm not certain that it's been confirmed by Barrymore or her team. A lot of fans have been praising Rapp's quick action in getting Barrymore off stage under the clips of the incident online. One fan said, "The way Renee read the situation so fast." Another said, "Before he even got anywhere near them, Renee was like, 'Nope, this is not good, we're out.' And that's some good instinct." Others noted Barrymore's initially warm response to the interruption was a testament to her kindness and enthusiasm. As of now, neither Rapp nor Barrymore have said anything further about the situation. Have you seen the clip? Are you a fan of Barrymore? Let me hear all of your thoughts on this situation in the comments below.
Drew Barrymore was a child star, gaining her fame when she was just 4 years old in 1982's E.T. But with a lot of child stars, too much money and fame at a young age can cause them to make bad decisions. And after Drew quickly gained the reputation of a party girl in her preteen years, she was blacklisted from Hollywood, and she's opening up about it all in a new interview. Hey, what's up everyone? It's Mackenzie here, and today on the channel I'm going to be filling you in on the truth about Drew Barrymore's past. But before we get into it, make sure to like and subscribe below. Also check out our playlist up there for more news stories like this. Drew has been an A-list celebrity since she was only a child, but she has shied away from opening up about the darker times she experienced along the way, until now. She spoke with The Sun over the weekend, speaking about how incredibly lucky she is to have her new daytime talk show. Talking about the show, saying, quote, "I don't know how I ended up here, but I will never lose sight of how lucky I am. Being blacklisted at 12, I appreciate every job that I have." And the blacklisting that she's talking about came from her reputation as a wild child star, because at a very young age she was using hard drugs on a very regular basis. Adding, quote, "I know what it's like to lose and work for things and be so lucky and have the opportunities I have and everything in between. I don't think there's much to hide at this point." Opening up about how her mother, who was a socialite, would bring her to venues like New York's infamous Studio 54, which was a nightclub. And just a few years after gaining her fame at 12 years old, she was already considered damaged goods. Because of how out of hand that Drew got, her mother even sent her away to a behavioral institution as an attempt to stop her partying. Drew recently talked about this on her new show, as as Paris Hilton was the guest. And if you saw my last video on Paris Hilton, you know she's still scarred to this day because of the terrible treatment she was put through at Provo Canyon School. And Paris is becoming even more vocal in her pleas to have the school closed down, because the school made lasting and negative changes on Paris's life. With Drew opening up that when she was watching Paris's documentary, it was like looking in a mirror because she had gone through the same things. With her saying in the episode, quote, "I've had the people come and take me away. I've been locked up in solitary confinement. I've been in a place for lengthy periods of time. We're talking year and a half plus." That sent Drew into a downward spiral, and at the age of 14, she had tried to take her own life. And after being in rehab at the age of 15, she filed for emancipation from her mother. She moved into her own apartment in West Hollywood and started waitressing in a coffee shop, a job that Drew says that she wasn't very good at. At the same time, she tried to do what she could to start over in showbiz. And now that Drew is healthy and happy with a beautiful family as well as a daytime talk show, she knows just how fortunate that she is. Finishing off the interview saying, quote, "I'm honored anyone will come on the show. I'm not an assuming person. I've been in this industry my whole life, but I'm just as excited to be around people of note as anyone would be."